Friends and folks, welcome to the Kaiju Lounge. I'm your boss monster, Noah Waterman. This is your home for humor, opinions, and nerd shit. We took a week off last week. It was Yom Kippur. I was out of town being somber, being with family, with the wife's family, being out down there, having a great time. It was just good to get out, see some people I hadn't seen in a while. Of course, it meant we missed a full week of the Kaiju Lounge and all the various festivities involved with that. And then I'm just going to say it right now, guys. You're going to hear it throughout. I got sick, which has been kind of a bummer. I've been coming off of a cold. I'm okay now. I still got a bit of a cough, a little bit of a phlegm in my throat. However, it sounds nastier than it is. See, there it is at this point. Luckily, I've got a little throat coat tea to make my life a little bit easier. I can't say throat coat and not think I'm saying throat coat, which, I'm sure it helps for that too. That's fine. Guys, we have a great show for you because I've been sick, because of sort of the strain in my throat. We have a lot of pre-recorded stuff. It's not because of that. We got, shockingly, actually, we were able to get our hands on a apology video from Unity. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff with Unity in the news in the last couple of weeks. Unity kind of pissing a lot of people off. They put out an apology message. We found a apology video that has not made the rounds. We'll be debuting that. More importantly, though, I was lucky enough to meet up. We weren't able to get them live. Calendars did not align. So I had to pre-record an interview, a sit-down with the prolific, the amazing, the incredibly talented Kyle McCarley, voice actor extraordinaire. More importantly, a SAG-AFTRA video game voice actor who has been very outspoken and very passionate about what's been going on in that world. We know that there is the potential for a strike, much like the Hollywood strike. There's a potential for a games industry strike between SAG-AFTRA and some of the big developers, publishers, recording houses. And so he's going to go into a huge in-depth interview, a good while that we'll talk about. We'll have that on here. And of course, we're diving into, for our gameplay portion tonight, the first time messing around with a Doom mod. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This mod, Venturous, has been making the rounds. It is a mod of Doom 2, made to play and look like an Indiana Jones game. And I don't know about you, but I am jonesing for adventure. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. A lot of fun stuff tonight. But before we get into any of that, of course, it is time for the last week in gaming. Love that transition. After only 4 years on the job as head of PlayStation, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, is retiring, which honestly is convenient timing because I hear John Riccitiello is looking for a new company to ruin. In the short time that Jim Ryan has brought a ton of success to Sony, he helped launch the PSVR 2. He laid the groundwork to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation for the next 10 years, despite the whole Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Hell, he even oversaw the launch of the PS5 during COVID, which is well on its way to break sales records. Or as Phil Spencer sees it, meh. Truth is, I'll say Phil, to his credit, posted a absolutely lovely message to the dead bird carcass that is X, stating, Jim Ryan has been a great contributor and fierce leader for PlayStation. I wish him the best in what he does next. Thank you for all that you have done for the community over the last 30 years, Jim. Honestly, that's really sweet. I think we even got a video of him shortly after he posted that tweet.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
While unrelated, this news does come shortly after a recently established hacker group known as Ransom.vc claimed they hacked into Sony's systems earlier last week, unearthing internal presentations, Java files, and over 6,000 files in a file structure. Granted, I think they said that if they had not gotten paid by the 28th, they would release all that information. I believe Sony did not pay them, and yet nothing happened. So it's possible it's a hoax. But to be perfectly honest, it would have been surprisingly easy to get into their entire computer system when it looks like the inside of a car showroom. Allegedly, they had a man on the inside. Don't act smug, Microsoft, by the way. At least they didn't do it to themselves, all right? However, things are looking pretty good for Microsoft, actually, as the UK's Competition and Market Authority has revealed that they are provisionally approving the latest version of Microsoft's acquisition deal of Activision Blizzard. It's so hard to have a script that says Activision and acquisition at the same time. So the $69 billion deal is still set to be the biggest acquisition in gaming history, including the rights to World of Warcraft, Diablo, and the sacrificial versions locked in Bobby Kotick's basement. Oh, you're not working for me now? There we go. Got to get there eventually. Look at this guy. This smug. He looks like a Captain Planet villain. This is like there was a magic spell that keeps him from turning into a rat at midnight. He looks like a penguin fucked a Cabbage Patch doll. That's the joke. That's the one we're going with. Speaking of Blizzard being a shell of its former self, Overwatch 2 had its anniversary event this past week, and Overwatch fans celebrated the best way they could by playing Phantom Liberty. Honestly, Microsoft's current golden boy, Bethesda, released a patch that fixed what players call the Magic Puddle. It's a location that housed the entire inventory of a nearby shop that you could just grab through this thing for free. So congrats, Bethesda, you did it. You fixed the game. There was nothing wrong. You can finally say this game has no more problems worthy of your attention.
Is something amiss?
Speaking of Starfield, a little while back, we talked about the modder who was asking for $5 a month on their Patreon for their work building the DLSS 3 upscaler for the game. It was like one of the first episodes I think we did. Well, this guy is threatening now to make life difficult for those who pirate his mod. He stated, "From now on, I will place hidden mines in my mods, making it harder for these people. The cracked mods will sometimes work, but be very wonky." Allegedly, he's claiming that these cracked versions will crash, will act up, they'll be incredibly buggy. It's basically the Bethesda game that you all know and love. LEGO announced a new addition to the Super Mario line with the Piranha Plant figure, complete with posable head and leaves, a green pipe, and sharp teeth, because stepping on Legos needed to be worse. In Nintendo news, Reddit user Black Hand Goddard showed proof this past week that they were able to beat all of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom without touching the surface. Or, apparently, grass. Heartthrob, or Frightening Lunatic, depending on which season of Gotham you stop watching at, Cameron Monaghan mentioned that a third installment of the Star Wars Jedi series was coming. Now, given the scope of the series, it probably won't be released for quite some time. And given its history, it won't be playable on PC for even longer. Speaking of Star Wars, Sony had removed all mentions of the upcoming Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake from their social platforms. The trailer had been hidden. Most mentions of Twitter have been scrubbed. It's like the game didn't even exist. No luck with Rise of the Skywalker, though. That one we have to accept. Season 10 of the hit online game Sea of Thieves arrives on October 19th. Bring with it new ideas like 24-person guilds, a competitive world event, and for the first time, a safer seas mode without PvP for all the freaks who fear confrontation or losers who'd rather play alone. Unrelated, I'll be playing Sea of Thieves on stream starting October 19th. Rumor has it that Red Dead Redemption 2 will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, this is great. This is exciting news for everyone who ever wondered how Arthur Morgan would look like with Botox. Speaking of walking, talking Nintendo Switch models, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg unveiled a suite of upcoming AI chatbots that include, of all things, Snoop Dogg as the Dungeon Master, which is absolutely silly. Snoop is obviously a Shadowrun guy. Now, T-Pain, that is a D&D guy if I ever saw one. It's T-Pain for D&D, it's Snoop for Shadowrun, and Lil Nas X for running LARP of Vampire the Masquerade. In some legal news, a Wall Street banker was indicted for using an Xbox 360 to engage in insider trading. Now, the police rushed over there to stop him, but Microsoft beat him to the punch. Pokemon and the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam has a collaboration right now that is a fun romp for children, taking them through history of Van Gogh's paintings and the various stories behind them, and it was attended by the fan base you'd expect. Middle-aged neckbeards looking to scalp on eBay. Now, it's not just the exclusive card that they're giving away with the felt hat. Art prints, postcards, hell, even a tote bag from the gift shop is going up on eBay for 3-4 times as expensive as it should be. I've never been more afraid of someone who would get mugged at a farmer's market in my life. The Pokemon Company did issue an apology stating, due to overwhelming demand, all of our products from this collection have sold out. I'm sorry, overwhelming demand? It's fucking scalpers. Right? It's one thing to apologize, I get that, but the fact that the Pokemon Company isn't willing to say what it is shows they honestly don't care. Because truthfully, they get paid either way. Now, if Pokemon wants to do right by the people, just keep printing these cards. Never stop. For no first printings, no second printings with a different symbol on them, etc. Make them not only available, but so easy to get. I mean, it's not like a fucking PlayStation. There's no chip shortage. Take all the power out from the scalpers. Better yet, make it an NFT because no one gives a fuck about those anymore. Lastly, and I gotta say this one is unfortunate, but Epic Games, who owns Fortnite, Fall Guys, and the Unreal Engine, is now laying off 16% of their entire staff. That's huge. That's a huge amount for such a big company. Not among them is the person who thought selling the Share the Wealth emote on the same day was a good idea. Now, CEO and kid who ran the AV club in high school, Tim Sweeney, sent out an email to his staff saying, for a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn. I've long been optimistic we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that this is as unrealistic. Allegedly, a reply all went sent back from the staff saying, "We?" Now, keep in mind, Fortnite in 2022 was bringing in $5 to $6 billion a year. That's just Fortnite. That doesn't include anything else Epic does. And this is coming after all the cuts we've seen elsewhere in the industry with other companies having the exact same problem. It makes you think, if only there was a person to blame, like a single person in these companies to let go without any severance or windfalls. You don't have to worry about the extra cash. Someone who made the wrong decisions in these companies that brought us here in the first place. On a serious note, guys, if you know anyone in the industry, Epic or otherwise, who was recently let go from the company in these trying times, find them on LinkedIn, do what you can to help them find work, because they truly do deserve better than the system that has put them in this place. I myself am no stranger to layoffs and how that works within companies. And there's a lot of niceties and bullshit being thrown out there, but you got to say it doesn't fall on the small people. The problems start at the top. That said, I know we're going to a bit of a break on a downer, but when we come back, Unity has some things to say, a bit of an apology to give to the people. So stay tuned, stick around. We will be right back. There we go. All right, guys, we are back. Unity. Been a bit of a topic of conversation for a little while now, of course. Excuse me. For those of you who may have forgotten, Unity tried to issue out a runtime fee. That was a big point of contention for a lot of people, the idea that you would have to pay every time someone downloaded the game instead of just doing a rev share model. And the internet went nuts. This was universally panned by everybody. And honestly, none of this is surprising. CEO of Unity, John Riccitiello, notoriously a bit of a bad actor in the industry, famous for pushing the worst that microtransactions had to offer when he was at EA, including things like trying to bring along pay $1 to reload during a first-person shooter. This is the man who also went on to claim that any game developer who is not bringing in microtransactions is, and I quote, word for word, a fucking idiot. Of course, people fought back in a big way. Developers behind games such as oh God, why am I blanking on the game? Oh my God. Cult of the Lamb, for instance, were starting to threaten the idea of bringing down, taking their game off of the storefronts. I mean, granted, they later said that was meant to be a joke, but I will say the sentiment was absolutely real. Even the developers behind Terraria are fighting back against much of this maligned Unity changes by donating $200,000 to 2 different open source game engines, or as the industry would call it, a runtime fee amount. It's pretty nuts. So Unity came out with a apology letter that they posted online. Of course, that didn't seem like it was nearly enough, and so we got our hands on an apology video from Unity. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Kat Paddington, Community Manager and SVP of Customer Relations for everyone's favorite game engine, Unity. For nearly 20 years, Unity has been one of the most reliable game engines to build your next great game. From mobile titles, to AAA games, to your favorite indie games, Unity has been there, watching. Always watching. Now, as we understand it, the latest change to our pricing structure has been viewed by some in the industry as problematic. The sudden adjustment to a runtime fee felt unfair, not clear, and far more costly. However, the extraordinary passion you have for this industry has led to a ton of feedback for our team. Feedback in our emails, online, in burning bags on our doorstep so that when we step on them, it gets feedback all over our shoes. You guys even called in with very credible feedback, forcing us to shut down 2 of our offices. You let us know that we disappointed you, and for that, we're sorry. Sorry, you just can't be cool about this. We get it. There is fear about how that runtime is implemented. What if people mass install a game they only bought once? What about charity bundles? What kind of customer tracking data do you need to implement? There is a very simple answer for all of this. Just be cool. Like, be cool. As we stated in a recent community post, we've adjusted our terms, so now you can choose between the runtime fee or a 2.5% rev share. Better yet, we'll let you self-report it. That way, if your numbers are off, even by a fraction of a cent, we will gut you like a pig to make an example out of you. Remember, the slightest mistake means all game devs can't be trusted, and you will grovel at our feet begging for the runtime fee as it once was. In the end, if you don't want to utilize the runtime licensing option, that's totally fine. We want Unity to work for you, because we aren't getting rid of it. Having it optional now means we can make it mandatory down the line, like a knife wound that will slowly bleed you out over months, even years. We will have our way, and you won't see it coming. Consider this day 1 and step 1 towards showing you the kind of company we are. We ask that you wait just a little longer before moving your game to another engine. Give us a chance to buy back your trust and our stock at its lower price since the announcement. We love this industry and all of you in it, and together we can build a better games industry. Just don't be fucking idiots and monetize your games, okay? Unity. Just don't be fucking idiots.
There we go once again. All right, guys. When we come back, I have a long, beautiful sit-down interview with the one, the only, Kyle McCarley, known as 2B from Nier Automata, the lead in Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. The man has done so much work, and he sat down with me to talk all about the upcoming potential for the voice actor strike, and what does that mean? What does that mean if SAG-AFTRA strikes against the video game industry? You're going to learn all about that when we return shortly. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. Here's the big meat and potatoes of our show tonight. So, a little bit of history. When I moved out, I went to college out here in New York City, moved out to LA. This would have been 2007. I moved out to LA 2007. The goal was to be an actor, to be a performer, do some stand-up comedy. And of course, when I did, the writer's strike happened and everything stopped. All opportunities that I could have been started to audition for, which is the whole reason it came out there, dried up and went away, left me in a bit of a drought and a bit of a funk. Of course, this echoes a lot of where we are today now. Another writer's strike just happened, putting a lot of shows on pause. It lasted the entire summer. And then SAG-AFTRA had joined in. Now, the SAG-AFTRA was against the, I'm going to mess up what the actual anagram is, but the American Allied Producers Association. I know it's not that, but like the group of Hollywood producers that are all bargaining together. They basically went up against them. And SAG-AFTRA is still on strike. And of course, at this time, it was this past Thursday, I want to say, maybe even Friday, that another SAG-AFTRA authorization to strike had come through, this time for the gaming industry. Strikes are no jokes. Like, people don't want to strike. They do it because they need to. They do it because because things have gotten so bad and they are so worried of being taken advantage of, they have to stand their ground. Now, granted, so many strikes, Writers Guild, SAG-AFTRA versus film and television, SAG-AFTRA now versus the game industry. It's a little hard to make heads or tails of. And as someone who is not on the acting side of the world anymore, who's not pursuing film and TV, as someone who is not SAG-AFTRA and not in a union, it's confusing. I did not have a lot of education, and I would love to be able to do things about it and showcase this, but I wouldn't know where to begin. This is where Kyle McCarley comes in. Mentioned moving out in 2007 during the writer's strike. Well, when I moved out, I joined a friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, Heather Gonzalez, another amazing voice actor in the world of anime and games. I joined her out there, and she was living with, amongst other people, Kyle McCarley. This man is, I don't get to see him as much anymore now that I'm been in New York for so long again. But he is one of the sweetest, nicest people, but he is also passionate about his craft, passionate about his industry, and knowledgeable. And so I knew when things hit the fan and that I wanted to have a guest, he'd be the perfect person to speak for it. So enough of me soliloquizing. We weren't able to get him here to do it live with me. I would have loved that, but so be it. Look, the time zones and everything, they're not going to match up. So I was able to get on with him ahead of time, which is always risky because you know how fast news works here. I was able to sit down with him ahead of time and talk a little about the industry. This is what we have here. Is the full chunk of our show, a 2-segment. We'll just wrap them all into one here for your guys' enjoyment. Without further ado, that was a burp and a cough. I apologize. I was trying to hold it before we go. Without further ado, let me pass this on to this amazing SAG-AFTRA strike interview. My guest at this time is a prolific voice actor in games and anime. You may have heard his voice in games like Nier Automata, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, or just about any time you autoplay on Netflix in the anime section. His latest project is up in the air as the video game voice actors have come to the table ready to strike. We're going to talk about that right now. Welcome to the show, Kyle McCarley.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for having on, man. Let's talk about this strike and what's going on, because cursory research, 2016, the voice actors went on strike initially. They stopped working for about a year, and I think it was the longest strike
Just
in
shy of a
SAG-AFTRA.
year. Yes, longest strike in either SAG or AFTRA's history, and then obviously in the very short history of the merged SAG-AFTRA. I think one of the longest strikes in any union's history. I'm not totally sure about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was really long. It was a
who
really long
better
strike.
than struggling actors to know how to not work for over a year? I mean, I think that's probably for the best.
Absolutely.
So with that, like, I know some of the stuff that's on stakes now had talked about then, and it's been kind of a refusal to make adjustments. It's kind of the other side's attempt to just kind of keep pushing back.
It's a very different animal this time around than it was
in
2016,
okay.
actually. Yeah.
So is the sequel better than the original?
Well, so first off, I should specify we are not on strike at this moment in time. We voted in massive numbers and overwhelmingly in favor of strike authorization. And what that means is that we gave our negotiating committee, we being the members, the SAG-AFTRA membership, gave the interactive negotiating committee the power to call a strike if they deem that it is necessary. I had, candidly, every expectation for the interactive committee to come out of the negotiations that just ended on Thursday night with, we are on strike. And what they came out of those negotiations with was, we have ended our negotiations for the week without a deal. The current deal remains in effect. We'll be back at the table. I think they said on the 10th or 11th of October.
Got it. So cliffhanger ending, ready for part 2.
Yeah. As somebody who is not on that negotiating committee and knows no information beyond that official statement,
right.
My hypothesis is the fact that the WGA just got their deal with the AMPTP, the fact that the AMPTP is coming back to the table with SAG-AFTRA to talk about the TV theatrical contract, the big CBA that all of SAG-AFTRA's contracts point to. So the fact that that is happening right now, I think made both sides of the interactive negotiations go, you know what? Let's wait and see what comes of that, and then we'll come back to the table.
So,
which is great, honestly.
Oh, for sure. And it shows that movement is being made. There's an element of this that feels kind of, you having worked in anime, understand kind of the Dragon Ball Z approach of just where a fight will last at least 6 episodes. And it's kind of a similar environment. Let's talk about. I think before we get into what you guys are fighting against, I want a little clarification because as someone on the outside looking in, I hear that WGA just kind of wrapped up their strike. SAG-AFTRA is still on strike with the on the film and television side. This is technically a separate SAG-AFTRA strike. This is not.
Yeah, it's a completely different contract. It's different. Different set of negotiating partners, different employers, but there is some overlap.
Right.
In the sense,
because there'll be overlap in
that,
in the people involved, but also it's like it's not like this is a subdivision of SAG-AFTRA that you guys are. It's not that you are. Is it that the voice actors specifically are a separate thing, or?
No, it's so our union is very big. SAG-AFTRA is a very big union. They represent a whole lot of different types of performers. They represent background actors. They represent broadcasters, like people who divulge the news to you on CNN. They represent sports broadcasters and I think even like radio personalities. There's a whole lot of completely different niches of the entertainment and information industry that SAG-AFTRA represents. And all of those different areas have their own contracts. And a lot of them have completely different employers that those contracts are negotiated with than the TV theatrical contract that everybody thinks of when they think of actors and the actors union. So there's a whole lot of there's all of those different things. So when we called the strike on TV theatrical, it didn't apply to the broadcasters, to the late night hosts. It didn't apply to to video games. It didn't apply to dubbing, but that was an exception that our that our negotiating committee very intelligently put in, because dubbing is a completely different animal, I think, even though it is a subset of the TV theatrical contract in that case.
Wow.
Anyway,
this is why you get the lawyers in on this.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that the metaphor that a friend of mine likes to bring out is, like, if you think of like a dam that holds up a big old river. Like the big dam is our TV theatrical contract, and the big river is all of that work that flows through there. And then there are all these other little smaller rivers that are running like alongside that one, and there'll be some little tributaries that'll like branch off of the big TV theatrical river and kind of feed in before the dam of the interactive contract shows up a little bit further down. So it's because like we will take the interactive committee will take some notes from the TV theatrical committee's negotiations to help inform them and to help influence the negotiations. But it is a completely separate contract. And it is a completely separate set of employers, because it's interactive. It's wild. We're negotiating with I think it's 9 companies are on the interactive the employers side of things that are negotiating.
So,
I can't remember.
So I have it here. Let me know if this is the list that sounds right. It's the Activision, Blind Light, Disney, EA, Epic Games, Formosa, Insomniac, Take-Two, VoiceWorks, and WB.
Yeah. So right there within that very small list of companies, because there are a lot of other companies that work in video games and employ SAG-AFTRA actors, but those companies are the ones that we negotiate our contract with. Other companies might work through those companies to hire SAG-AFTRA actors, or they might just say, hey, we'll take whatever contract exists to hire SAG-AFTRA actors.
Got it. So it's not just that.
Necessarily negotiating things.
It's not just these are the ones you're not working with. It's or you're striking against. It's these are the ones at the table for the moment, but they're
the ones at the table. And just within that small list, there's 3 different types of employers. Insomniac is a game developer. So they make those games, and they will come directly to us as the developer and hire SAG-AFTRA actors to work on their games. Activision and EA, just as an example, or Warner Brothers or Disney, those guys are game publishers. So I mean, some of them have their own like in-house development teams, but most of the games that they put out, they are hiring they're either picking up a license from somebody who already made a game, or they are just acting as the distributor, and they've like subcontracted a studio that's making the game for them. And
right,
they
but like a producer, they're handling a lot of that business and getting you guys on. Yeah.
And then the third type that's in that same list of negotiating partners is recording studios. Formosa and Blind Light are recording studios that are just studios for hire that any game developer or publisher can come to and say, hey, we'd like you to make our game, record the dialogue for our game for us. And then they can decide if they want to go through, they're supposed to use their union signatory status and use us as, but sometimes they do what's called double breasting, where they'll work non-union on things. So we have 3 completely different sets of negotiating partners, all in the room on the same side of the table, which really does complicate things. But
so they all have their own sets of rules, They all
have their own things that they're looking for. I mean, it's the same kind of stuff that the TV theatrical negotiations have been dealing with, where they're dealing with tech companies that are getting into the entertainment business at the same time as they're dealing with the old school film and TV production houses. It's that same kind of juggling of like, how are you guys able to actually bargain with us when you don't want the same things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When one end of the spectrum is Mark Zuckerberg and the other end of the spectrum is Harvey Weinstein, you feel like it's a really fucked up spectrum.
Right. But I did want to touch on something, because you started to allude to this. In the event that a strike is called, we would gosh, I have to be very careful about the way that I word this because this was very confusing in 2016, and I want to be very clear. If an interactive strike is called, it will specifically be applied to those 9 negotiating, or what was it? Was it 9, 7, whatever it is?
Yeah, I can
those
count it, but I think that sounds
negotiating
about right.
partners. Those companies are the ones that we would be striking against specifically. Anybody else, and in fact, even those companies themselves, I believe, would have the option to come to us outside of negotiations and sign what's called an interim agreement. Those interim agreements would essentially be like the existing interactive agreement with the addendums of here's all the stuff that we are asking for currently in negotiations that the other side has been unwilling to give us. If you
so it's
are
almost like
willing
a
to give
reverse
us
scab.
Yeah, it's specifically saying if you will agree to give us everything we are asking for, we are not going to strike you. We will absolutely come and work for you.
Interesting.
So
okay.
that's what an interim agreement is, and it's an invaluable tool during a SAG-AFTRA strike.
Right. It's a way to whittle at the armor, so to speak, because if you get a take two to give in a little bit, and you get this person giving a little bit, it almost seems like you end up with a smaller team.
If you think about it, like Sony is not one of our negotiating partners, or
that's a fair
Microsoft
point.
is not one of our negotiating partners. They have to go through a Formosa or a Blind Light or something like that as it is right now. So they could easily just go, well, what if we agree to sign an interim agreement and we can still record it at Formosa or Blind Light if we want to, or we could take it to somebody who's a little more actor friendly. I don't know. Like, we could go wherever we want. So it's a way for us to kind of help put the pressure on these companies that wouldn't, just theoretically. I don't know where things are going to land. We may never go on strike. We may never go on strike here.
You bring up the Microsoft thing is interesting because of one of the people on here is Activision. And of course, Microsoft has been in this big war trying to buy Activision Blizzard for the longest time. So it's funny how, like, you're right, Microsoft is not listed on there, but someone they've been trying to buy for a while is. And I wouldn't be surprised at what point is it where it'd be interesting to see in the next couple of years if this happens again, where the various holding companies, Embracer Group, that is owns 150.
It's already a different and I believe shorter list of negotiating partners than it was in 2016. So
fair.
things change pretty quickly. Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about the key issues. So what is on the table this time around? What are the main things that you guys are balking against?
So the number one issue, far and away, is artificial intelligence.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the year of our Lord 2023? No.
Basically, what to my understanding of what the negotiating committee is trying to get the other side of the table to agree to is you will only use anything that you have us record for you to train. Actually, I think it's specifically like you can't use it to train any artificial intelligence models. You will only use a model that you create off of our voice or our likeness for something with a negotiation with SAG-AFTRA, not just the individual performer, but with SAG-AFTRA on a project, on a per project and per role basis. You have to negotiate the terms of that usage. It has to be limited to just that project, and there has to be some compensation involved as well as informed consent on all of that. And there seems to be a lot of pushback on that. There's kind of this attitude in the tech world where, well, you already did it for us. Now it's ours to do with what we will. And there have to be usage parameters on everything that we do as performers. So that's a big, like, we are digging our heels in the sand on that one for sure. We will not budge on those specific asks for artificial intelligence protections. That's number one for sure. Number two is inflation-adjusted wage increases. which is also a big issue in the TV theatrical negotiations that are that have led to the strike that is still currently ongoing, but hopefully potentially going to be resolved within the next week. I don't know.
Fingers crossed.
Back at the table on Monday, so we'll see. Or I guess by the time this
literally
airs,
this will air
today.
A good chance maybe after
there may be,
at the table. So
maybe there's already a deal done. Who knows?
We'll see how up to date this is.
Right? Yeah. Maybe there's already a deal. Who knows? I doubt it'll happen.
That's
in
why
a day,
if we waited a week, I'm not even sure it'd be worth having this conversation.
Exactly.
So I'm glad we're having it now.
So yeah, the wages, I don't know if I have specific percentage values anymore. I know at one point we were asking for 11% in the first year, and then I think it was 5% in the second and third years. And I don't know if that's come down at all for what we're asking for or not. But I know it's inflation in mind, and I'm sure it's going to be. We're going to end up pointing to wherever we land with the AMPTP, assuming that
is
gets
the
resolved.
11 just because of how big of a jump that is the 11 a bit of like a retroactive jump because there hasn't been much inflation previously?
It's based on how gross inflation has hit our economy in America over the past 3 years.
Wow.
Because since 2020, inflation has been about 11%. It's been
That makes sense.
wild.
Fucking A.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So those are the big two, and then there's also we want some more safety provisions for our performance capture, motion capture performers. We want to have an on-set trained medic, not just somebody with a first aid kit, which is what last I heard what they were offering.
Really? Really?
Yeah. We want them to have the guaranteed, our voiceover performers like myself, we are guaranteed a 5-minute break every hour, or it can be prorated to be 10 minutes every 2 hours or something like that. There are no breaks guaranteed for motion capture, performance capture performers in our current contract. We want to get them the same breaks that we get as voiceover performers. And what else? And we want to get codified in the contract vocal stress provision that guarantees that if it's going to be a vocally stressful session, it cannot be any longer than 2 hours. That has become pretty industry. It's become that was a big tentpole issue during the 2016 strike, and it was the one issue that we did not get as far as I know out of at the end of that strike. But what we did get was a lot of education happening for our employers, and as a result, the culture has changed to the point where to work longer than 2 hours on something vocally stressful is pretty much unheard of anyway. So for them to not be willing to codify that in the agreement feels a little weird. But
so those last couple feel a bit like no-brainers, right? It's like, you don't want somebody getting injured in your mocap room. You don't want someone screaming on the top of their lungs in losing their voice. You can never bring them back if you make a franchise.
Right.
Those make sense. Let's kind of dive into those first two, which are obviously where the rich people step in and be like, no, because I paid for this. And AI obviously being the big topic in general. We're seeing it everywhere. I remember you had posted not too long ago, almost a bit of a warning about people not putting in protections in their contract against AI. Or have you seen like people try to slide in even on contracts of your own, or just like, we own your voice, can use it for any DALL-E project we wish moving forward?
There has been some stuff showing up in contracts that I think was there already. It's just language that takes on a new meaning in light of current technology that says we reserve the right to simulate your voice, which, like, I think that's terminology that's been around for ages that generally means we have the right to get somebody to impersonate you. or we have the right to manipulate what you record for us to make it sound a little different, or something like that.
Right. It's like hiring Dan Castellaneta to play Genie in the second Aladdin. It's like
yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's that kind of stuff that like they work in that type of language all the time, but because of the verbiage that's used to assert those rights, it feels a lot like it could be trying to assert artificial intelligence rights as well. And SAG-AFTRA's official stance is you cannot assert those rights without negotiating with us first. That is a mandatory subject of bargaining. And our lawyers feel very confident that if we ever had to take it to court, we would win that fight in terms of that being a mandatory subject of bargaining.
So it's not even about taking it out of the contracts. It's just about not having it in on a case-by-case basis if talked to with SAG-AFTRA and the individual.
We know that they want to be able to use this technology, especially in video games. They're really eager to be able to try and like there's tech demos coming out of like game worlds where you as the player can go talk to the non-player characters that you're interacting with, and artificial intelligence generates their responses so that it feels like an actual conversation that you're having with somebody. And yeah, that's really cool technology. And I as somebody who plays a lot of video games, yeah, I kind of want to play a game like that. But I want to make sure that myself and my fellow performers aren't being exploited to the point where we are obsolete and we're not going to be making any money anymore when they're using our voices to generate those performances or our faces or whatever. So that's why we want these protections in place, because we don't want them asserting rights that we personally believe they don't have at the moment, and we want to make sure that we get it in the contract now before it's too late to assert it, because in another 3 years this technology is going to have just exploded.
For sure. Given how AI now is NFTs 2 years ago, which in turn was crypto 4 years ago, right. Like I'm sure as you've talked about this online and been vocal about this online, you've had your share of people who push back. We'll say the nicest thing, especially in some of the more dead bird carcass portions of the social media. What are like?
It is a very small but vocal minority. Yes.
What are those pushbacks? And I mean, in turn, what like I'd say like using this as another platform once again. To what are people saying that like are disagreeing with you, and like what are the holes in their logic?
I think the big thing is that they feel like it's making art more accessible for people who don't have the money to hire professionals, but I feel like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot as you say that. Like if you don't have the money to hire professional artists, right, then are you really and if you don't have the creativity to be the professional artist yourself, like what art are you really creating there? Yeah,
it's like using Midjourney for your D&D character portrait in D&D Beyond is different than using Midjourney for, say, your t-shirt company.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another like there's a whole nother topic of conversation that we need legislation really bad to help protect against this, where fans are taking stuff that they are finding like in games or movies, TV, cartoon shows, whatever, and they are feeding that into 11 Labs where they can just click a box that says, yeah, I own this, with no sort of supporting evidence, and then they can create their own little AI model of whatever they want and go have it sing a song in a character's voice and post it on YouTube, and nobody can do anything to stop them right now with because there's no legislation because it's brand new technology. We really need help with that.
That's
there
crazy.
Is thankfully public sentiment in general really doesn't look favorably upon people who do that stuff right now, because people like myself within the industry have been very vocal about, hey, guys, it's yes, legally you're not doing anything wrong, but morally you are really upsetting people, the real live human beings whose likenesses you are like. It doesn't feel any more like identity theft than that to me.
Right. Also, it's like, I don't know, if you're a fan of this person enough that you're doing something like this, you'd think the person coming out being like, hey, I don't like you're doing this, could possibly shame them into hiding.
Exactly.
But
now there is still a small vocal minority who's like, screw those people. Let's let this happen. Like, let's make these characters say dick and fart jokes or whatever that they can't say. Yeah.
It's all the people who still wish Newgrounds was around, so it's fine.
There's definitely like major consequences that could come of that being left unchecked. But specifically, what we're talking about when it comes to a potential interactive strike, it's the work side of things, and it feels a little less nefarious there to me, or a little less potentially inadvertently nefarious than it is with fans doing stuff. But it is still like it's a job security issue for sure, and. What is our union doing if not trying to protect our jobs? So,
1,000%.
Yeah, that's why it's such a big issue for sure.
So the other side of this coin is the wage increase and making sure that's gone up. Was that an issue in the 2016 strike as well, or?
Every contract negotiation, that is always going to be an issue.
I guess
it's
it makes
always
sense.
going to be one.
Yeah.
Workers are always going to be asking for more money than the employers are willing to give, and at the end of the day, at some point we will meet somewhere in between those 2 points. It's just a matter of what's it going to take to get to that point, and how low can we afford to go, and how high do they feel like they can afford to come up to meet us.
I mean, that said, like, haven't the CEOs been through enough, man? Haven't they had enough heartbreak? You know, it's so hard being them, having to let go the bottom because they made mistakes. Like, can't we go easy on them?
I will say, like, AI is obviously also a subject of discussion with the TV theatrical contract for SAG-AFTRA, just as it was a discussion for the WGA. But I think the wage increase was like kind of the big obstacle, because if the WGA hadn't gotten their deal, and if we weren't, presumably going to be getting our deal with the AMPTP very soon, I think that would have been a major roadblock, because there was no way that our interactive committee was going to settle for any less of a wage increase than what our TV theatrical negotiating committee was asking for from the AMPTP, because it would have been cutting our legs out from under ourselves. And by the same token, our bargaining partner, Warner Brothers and Disney, are on both on the other side of the table on both of those issues. So they weren't going to give us what we were asking for in interactive if they weren't willing to give it to us in TV theatrical. So the fact that roadblock seems to be getting out of the way makes me much more optimistic about an interactive contract being settled sooner rather than later.
That's good. That's good to hear. As you mentioned, as of recording, the theatrical has not wrapped yet. It sounds like that's kind of first on the docket before the video game voice actors.
It really seems to me, it seems to me like the only reason we are not on strike at this moment is because both sides agreed to just say, let's see what happens with when you guys go back to the table with the AMPTP, and then we'll reconvene. So,
I honestly, it's not unlike a video game company to put something on pause until the other bigger games come out, and then see how their game does.
Yeah. I just wanted to, knowing some of the people on the interactive negotiating committee, as fleetingly familiar as I am with some of those people, I feel like they would not have agreed to table the discussion if meaningful progress hadn't been made. Just, with the caveat of, like, obviously both sides are saying, all right, let's just hold off. Let's see what happens. And then we'll talk about this again.
Yeah. I don't know if we're in a fight until mommy and daddy are in a fight.
Yeah, I think if they hadn't, if the negotiating partners had not agreed to come part of the way to us in the negotiations that just ended on Thursday, we'd be on strike right now. I think so. I think some progress must have been made in those discussions.
Right. I mean, people are willing to talk to see what other people are doing before they make their own move.
Right. Exactly.
It feels like the likelihood in general of a strike may be dying down. Either way, depending on one way or another, it kind of signals to the individual teams which direction they're taking.
A week ago, it felt like it was a foregone conclusion, and now it feels like it's still very likely that we will go on strike, but it is far less likely now, I think, than it was. So
what is then?
Fingers crossed.
At this point, in your eyes, what does a strike look like in the industry? So physically, I know what a strike looks like. You walk outside and I'm seeing people march around with signs, and I know that means that you guys aren't working. Do games and does the games industry go on pause in the same way Hollywood does?
Okay. So this I'm going to take us back to 2016 here to talk about this, because the reason that strike took so long to be resolved, I think, is it's twofold. First, games take forever to be made. So the industry does not feel the effects of a strike for 3 years because it takes that long for production to finally, for us to finally actually gum up the works on production by not going into work. That's the first part. The second part is I don't know who's responsible for this clause in our interactive agreement. Whoever it is, they're not my friend. There is a clause in our interactive agreement that does not exist in any other SAG-AFTRA contract that says if you, as a producer, have already signed your project to the agreement, then we cannot call a strike on that project. So, in 2016, there was a whole lot of confusion because we were striking 11 specific companies. But any project that those 11 specific companies had already signed when the strike was called, we were still allowed to work on. And by official messaging, that's what we were getting, was that wording, which just confused so many actors like myself. I wasn't even a union member yet, so I was going, all right, so I can't work for those companies, but I'm still not a union member. I can work non-union. I just don't want to work non-union for them. But I can work union. I just got to make sure that if I'm working union, it's either not for them or it's in the little database that says that they signed the thing before we called the strike. Okay, yeah.
So it's kind of like being grandfathered into not being struck against.
Yeah. Lots and lots of confusion there. That's the reason that strike took so long. And now, take us to present day. If a strike gets called today, or well, not today, but in a couple of weeks, then I think, obviously, unless our wonderful lawyers have figured out a way out of that stupid clause in our contract, which I don't think they have, but maybe they have, I think what we're going to have is a whole lot of, yes, that is the official messaging. However, we would like to remind all of our performers who work in video games that if you are contracted as a day player, you are under no contractual obligation to report to work for any project. So you, as an individual, you can withhold your services for a non-struck project if it'll help apply some pressure. So
interesting.
I think,
so it's not like you can still work for these companies that have projects that started
by
before
the official rules. Yeah, by the official rules of the strike, we cannot tell you that you can't work for these projects.
But if you come down with a case of the I don't give a fuck flu, then you can just not show up, and
you are
that's
under
also
no
okay.
contractual obligation. Yeah, you are under no contractual obligation to report to work for anything that hasn't contracted you to work.
Wow.
So, and 99% of video game work is day player work. We sign the paperwork the day of, or sometimes a week later. So,
oh wow, okay,
yeah. So it's there's definitely room for individual performers to help try and apply some pressure to those companies if they really hold out on us. There's also our interactive committee has learned a lot since 2016, and they've learned a lot from the TV theatrical strike as well. Interim agreements are going to be readily available if a strike is called, so that all those other employers that want to work with us and give us everything we're asking for will be able to really quickly. So I think, will the whole industry slow down? No. And fans probably wouldn't notice much of a change to anything for a while. There would probably be, there might be a few projects, depending on how long a strike would take, there might be a few projects that have, a few more projects that have non-union casts that aren't as strong as they would otherwise be, just because, especially the issues this time around compared to 2016 are so much more universally supported by performers. I think employers are going to have a lot harder time finding actors who are willing or confused enough to cross the picket line this time around compared to 2016.
Right. That's great. I also think of something like so I think recently, and I think I'm even making a joke about this in my opening monologue of this episode, that Cameron Monaghan stated something about the next Star Wars Jedi game. So obviously those talks are already happened, even though Star Wars Jedi Survivor just came out earlier this year. So it's possible that's in contract that like the strike could come and go, and if that starts
and that project never skips a beat. Yeah.
That's crazy to think about that. So there really is, like, it's not like things shut down in the same way.
Not even close to the same way. I do believe there will be some sort of a promotion embargo, if that's possible, on completed projects and stuff that is still in the works, because that's stuff that's not in the contract usually.
So like Jeff Keighley in the Game Awards is like fucked if this happens.
I don't know. It really, like, I can't. It's hard for me to predict what strike rules will be before a strike is called. But I mean,
course,
obviously, coming off of a TV theatrical, I mean, we're still in a TV theatrical strike. Those rules are obviously going to be influential. I don't think they'll be exactly the same, but they'll be taking cues from that if it happens. If it, yeah, holy shit. Well,
is there anything, and obviously it's probably difficult being on the outside looking in, the fans can do to support should a strike come? Like, obviously there are going to be some who are the naysayers who are fighting for the rights of AI as if this was...
They will be a very, very... You won't even hear from them, honestly, compared to how many people are going to be so supportive of, like, we are having a hot labor summer, or coming off of a hot labor summer.
It's beautiful. It's sexy. I'll get the pool party ready.
Yeah.
But what can the fans who do want to help and want to kind of lend their support, what can they do?
I would say I'm certain that there will be no call for any sort of a boycott of any kind. But I will say that if you're a streamer, which I know a lot of people stream video games, I am certain that there will be. I'm certain because they've told me as much, that the interactive committee will have guidelines out for streamers who are not SAG-AFTRA members and not aspiring SAG-AFTRA members, just people who stream video games on the internet. guidelines for streamers who want to be supportive of our efforts. Just basically saying, hey, here's stuff that you maybe want to avoid streaming right now to help us, like, kind of dig in and against the people that are holding out against us. So if there's a strike, that's one thing that you could look for. Obviously, if you've got some spare money in the bank account, donations to the Entertainment Community Fund or the SAG-AFTRA Foundation go a long way to help performers who are out of work, especially as a result of labor disputes. I mean, those funds are around all the time, but they are working overtime when we're in a strike. So
perfect. I'll throw links to those down below as well to make sure anyone watching can click on that.
And then obviously, I'm sure there's going to be a hashtag or two when the time comes. So be vocal on the internet and just try and like express your support. I know that feels like such a small, meaningless thing, but it does mean something. It really does.
Change your profile picture to a pixelated blob in solidarity for all the video game voice actors out there on strike.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Kyle, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for hopping on. Before you disappear into the night, where can people find you? Do you have anything you're working on that you can share before all hell breaks loose? That you can talk about?
Yeah, that's the thing, because everything's always under NDA. I was in Starfield, just came out. So if you're playing that, you can find me somewhere in there. Anime. Oh, there's a thing coming to Netflix. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And that's the most I can say. That's honestly more than I can say about that. But who's going to stop me?
Honestly, I mentioned before, but literally, if you hit randomize, whatever auto plays, on the number of times I've heard this man's voice just scrumming through, my wife hears me go, "Oh shit, that's Kyle." It's just like, it's you'll find him.
And you can find me on social media generally is at Kyle McCarley. You can also, if you're into board games, I do a show called The Board and Barrel. It's BNB Tabletop on both Twitch and YouTube are the two big platforms for us there. So,
it's an absolute blast. Check them out live because you get to interact with them. It's a ton of fun. Kyle, thanks. You for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. Great having Kyle up on here. Michu, I see. Hopefully I didn't give you my apologies if you hopped in the middle and got the false impression that was live. I wanted him on the show live. We were not able to get him live because our schedules did not line up. But he is, his work as 9S is fantastic. And as you mentioned, he dropped some things. Once this video is in the VOD, I will drop those links in the description below of ways that you can help out as a streamer. One of the best things is being as an indie game developer, you're probably not beholden to a lot of the contract issues. As long as you fall in line with what they're looking for as far as not abusing their voices using AI, you can get a guy as amazing, as fantastic as, I know, I'm sure that was confusing. I apologize if you had hopped in the middle of that. You just, next time I'll see if I get Homeboy live up on here. But it was good. Seriously, as an indie dev, if you're willing to go ahead and get your own separate SAG-AFTRA contract and you're lined up, just like a lot of indie films can still work, even though the big corporations can't, because they're willing to give these actors what they need, these people who bring these wonderful characters to life. It's important. It's necessary. It's what makes the world go round. Support unions, support people. Guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna do a quick BRB. You're gonna see the screen go dark a little bit during the BRB screen because I have to change cameras. My camera's freaking out. But when we come back, we are diving into a very interesting Doom mod that came out this past week. A little Doom meets Indiana Jones. It seems kind of neat. We're going to try it out and see how goofy this thing is. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're going to do this. We're going to see how off my settings are when I bring in this camera. Because a different camera, it's a different focal point. It's going to be probably far closer. Let's see how bad this is. Ooh, damn, I am far too close. I am far too close. Let us shrink that down. I can only do one at a time. Yeah, see, now you're seeing how the sausage is made. Uh-oh. Never stare directly into the sausage. I'm going to fix some of this up. I should be able to do full screen, honestly. Yeah, who didn't love seeing how this works out? Let's do this. We just got everything the right size. Yeah, there we go. That still seems far too high. Let me fix this real fast. Come on. Is that gonna be too low? Yeah, see, now I look down my. Give me some fucking head. There we go. That's a little better. That's a little better. You know, it's okay. It's okay if things are a little sloppy. You know, it's gonna be even crazier. I'm gonna bring the music down. Because we're gonna go ahead and look into where things sound with this game. So we're gonna bring this in. We're not getting the game in yet. It doesn't look like it's sharing the game. Give me a second. I gotta see, make sure I'm getting the audio right for people. It's all right. This is how it goes down. Okay, that's set. Well, it's not showing up, and that's odd. Let's see if it's in sound options. Nope. All right, well, real quick, let me at least go into the gameplay so you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. There we go. Okay, you know what? The new layout here isn't as bad. Not great looking for... I have a vertical stream here that I want to fix up. Fix up, look sharp. There we go. Yeah, that's so... That looks so big. Why is that so big? There we go. Just fixing various things. This is what happens. All right, we are playing Venturous. Venturous. It is a Venturous game. We're going to... No. Full options menu. Sound. Okay. Advanced options. Huh. And yet I'm not getting any sound here at all. That is really annoying, guys. I do not know what the haps is. Being sent to the Wavelink game. I feel like no one wants to see me play Doom or even a Doom clone in a soundless vacuum. So I'm going to keep trying to figure this out real fast. Also, can we set this to the 4x3? Would that look better? No, we're gonna stick with a 16:9. Let me figure this out. Just making sure that's not taking over. Wavelength game. Nothing? You're giving me nothing? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's sad. It's... You know, unless there's something here that I'm missing. All right, well, you know what? We're going to jam out to the tunes of the music we've been listening to. I go back to the main camera real fast. There we go. It'll be a very different kind of approach to the way this game plays. And then I'm just going to have to turn this down in my head so I'm not hearing so much of both too. We'll figure this out later. But I don't want to dilly-dally, guys. I don't want to wait. I want to get into this madness here. Let's do it with a new game, Venturous in the Footsteps of the Fallen. No, that's not. I don't even think I clicked option that time. We're gonna go to Meso. We're gonna start this off in the Mesoamerica skill level. Hinter, Hump, and Youth Ultra. Oh, I see. Yeah, I gotta do the easiest because I'm not good at these kind of games. Oh, I dig this already. Downplay. Oh, I love this. This is so old school. Okay. Oh. Here we go. Woo! It's got some clunky feeling weapons. Anybody? Anybody? Dude, I see you. Man, I see you. You got nothing. You got nothing. There we go. Bum ba dum ba. Da da da. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. So 1, 2. Great. That's good to know. Okay. I hate that it's dark. Wearing my glasses is probably not the best idea. I gotta take these off. It's actually too dark for even the gimmick right now. Nope, I don't like that, so I'm gonna go this way. Okay, I just continually can't see shit. Oh. Oh, that feels good. Alright, so this one I know. God, is it always this dark in here? Oh. I don't like how hard he was to kill. I hate those things. How's my health? All right. How do I throw a torch? Is it... Whoa, nope. That was dumb. There we go. Is there any health anywhere? Woo! Oh my god. Not excited for that. Not happy about that. Oh, this game gives me like... Oh. All right, here we go. I know I'm not talking a lot because I'm super paranoid someone's going to jump out at me. I was already here. Oh my god, I've gone in a full circle now. Okay. But that doesn't break? What is... I am so lost now. Okay, that's the passageway opened up. Does that mean there's something else here maybe? Nope. Nothing? What is going on? Oh, wait a minute. I can just go this way. Here we go. I am just lost. I'm just lost. I don't want to swim. Nope, no, I gotta do that. Oh, fuck. I have no ammo. I have no ammo and so little health. Oh my god, I am so screwed right now. Oh damn it, nope, I can't even see. Okay. I need ammo so badly. Damn it. Oh, fine, I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Ah. Damn. Damn, where does that put me now? Do I get anything? Enter. I can't even see. Like, my light is so bright. Maybe I could turn my light down a little bit. How do I... Nope, that wasn't it. Well, that's a weird... My mouse went away. Huh. Okay, where is my... Guys, here's a funny thing. I just lost my mouse. I was really looking forward to like getting more into this. Okay, mouse is back. I truly don't know what's happening here. Nor that why I can't like pop out now that I'm dead. There we go. Oh, but I'm back at the beginning. Ah. Dag nabbit. Okay. be a little smart about this time. Got better aim now. Holy crap. Get these shots from downtown. I'm like not a good shot at all. But like this is really working out for me here. It belongs in a museum. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at all this. All right, I kind of know a little better where to go now. I'm still very afraid of everything. I'm just like, the problem is I don't like dark, scary corridors. That's just me. It's like it's like my aversion to horror. Oh my god, how am I missing him? Right, that was cool. That was cool. Alright, so all these guys are gonna be back now. Okay. Yep. Yep. Got you. Got you. Let's go. Let's go. All right. You gonna come out? Yeah, you dumbass. All right, here we go. Yes. Oh, that felt so much better. Okay. Don't got anything for that yet. Here we go. See, this is where I was. Oh. What? My health is already down that low? I don't know where he is. Okay. I don't like this. Oh. Oh, damn it. Oh, that was just up there. Okay. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing now? What am I doing? Alright, well. I'm playing so carefully right now. That's it? I guess the blue is health. Unless this is. Need a blue skull to activate this object. Oh, god damn it. So did that do nothing for me? Okay, do I have... There we go. Oh, that felt nice. Oh, but I know that I remember this now. Okay, I think I need to switch to, let's switch to this guy. Yes. Oh, yes, there we go. And now, we need the blue skull. Okay, see, this is where I can sense it up. Right, okay. Yes, because I go back to the water here. This lovely illuminated water. There we go. I knock these fools out. I'm up here. Oh, I don't know what that did. Okay. Trying to figure this out. It certainly did something. And I'm just trying to figure my way around all of this. I love this room's illuminated. That helps me out a lot. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Nothing here. I don't look to the sky. Those things don't come to life. That's good. I am happy with that. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right. Oh, great. Okay, cool. You know what I'm gonna do real fast? I hadn't done this yet. Sure. Enter. There we go. See, now I'm playing smart. Not here to save scum. Nothing? Wait a minute. That just brought me back here. I just pick up my hat. My hat's armor? Well, fuck, if I hadn't known. Holy Remus. Jeez. I can't go that way. Okay, so wait. So that... Alright, so that brought me out. What did the blue skull do? Okay. I'm so lost now. I mean, I'm happy that there are no enemies anymore. That makes my life easier. Unless it's here. Ah, yes. Is there health? Can I do anything with that? No. Does it belong in a museum? Probably. Alright, that's just the outside. Oh. Jeez. Ah, see, I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention. Oh. Bit me in the bum a little bit. Oh, that was an autosave. Okay, so I'm not like totally SOL when these things happen. Okay. There we go. I'm just hearing these axes. Where are you at? I know I didn't get you. Was that my last shotgun blast? Oh my god, yes. Devil way up there? No, I don't. Jesus. He dropped down the wrong side. Like a dumbass. Come on, come on, come on. Sorry guys, I keep forgetting that you guys don't have the audio because I couldn't get the audio working on this. So we're gonna, I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to pull from this, but it's fine. It's fine, we're gonna go ahead. We all good here. Okay, I do want those that health. So what happens with this guy? The what? The hell was that? What? Can I look around? Is it what even got me? What even got me? Oh. Going back here. Damn. All right. Well, you know what, guys? Hold on. This glass is coming back on. We're gonna go to the main cam because you know what? We've hit just about the 2-hour mark on our stream. And so with that, it is time for me to drift off to Summerland. It has hit midnight. I know we're going out a different way than we came in because visually it all looks different. That's fine. That's fine, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for checking out the Kaiju Lounge, for everyone who hopped in, who gave us a good time. I'm sorry we had some technical difficulties towards the end in this gameplay stuff. I may remove the gameplay thing. If the gameplay is not giving people the love they need, then maybe it's not worthwhile. We'll see. It seems where I have the most tech issues, but you know what? We're brand spanking new. We're still figuring some stuff out. We've only just begun. And it is a continued rise to the top. It is a rise out. It is we shoot, we score, and we aim to please. If you haven't already, give the video a like. Also, feel free to subscribe while you're at it. Let's see if we can get this channel to 500. We are so close. We are so close. I'm sure we'll have a great week next week as well. So much more. Remember, we are live every Monday night from 10 to 12. The Kaiju Lounge, the gaming's only late night show. I take pride in that. A late night talk show for gaming. It just feels right. It feels like this is kismet. This is what it's meant to be. This is a calling. So please share some love. Share some love also over to Kyle McCarley. Once again, thank you, Kyle, for joining us for the show this week. I don't know what we got in the docket for next week yet, because I'm still working all that stuff out. But I promise it's going to be good. I promise if you're checking this out, it's going to be good. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for giving us your time. If you're watching this the VOD, please be sure to check that out. I am Boss Monster Kaiju everywhere, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram. I'm Boss Monsta Kaiju over on Twitter. I've been calling it X, but it's hard for me to call it X. Yeah, I'll be streaming. I might stream more of this on Twitch on Thursday. I tend to do a Thursday night stream. That's just me fucking around. So if you want to check out over there, check that out. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Until then, stay cool, stay hip, stay heavy. Good night.